Greetings from Cavite, Philippines. Greetings, everybody. I hope you are all doing well. So the reason why I started this live stream was to try to attract more subscribers. I need to get 50 subscribers total in order to do live streaming on my cell phone. So I can walk around our property and video and publish videos and show you all our lifestyle here in the Philippines, answer your questions. We are approaching the end of a very, very difficult period of time, the COVID quarantine, etc. During this time, I have been very productive, published several books. The Second Texas Republic is one of the books that I published. I put the links down on the description there. So it'll help generate some sales for the books. Sales for the books will help us out. And it'll also be able to really communicate to you all what it's like here. Being a Texan, being an American, moving to the Philippines, raising kids in the Philippines. Why did we do that? We live 30 kilometers north of Taal Volcano. What's that like? We had the volcano erupt in January 2020. What was that like? It was really very difficult. What are the benefits of living in the Philippines? Why did we come here initially? Why did we decide to stay? How long did we live in the U.S.? While we were in the U.S., my wife was able to visit California twice, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, and then Maryland. Okay, so that's California, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, and Maryland. So she was able to experience 7 states in depth, multiple days. I guess Arkansas wouldn't be multiple days. That was only driving through. But she experienced Missouri a lot, Kansas a lot, Oklahoma, spent the night visiting family. California visited twice, multiple days. She didn't like California. That was exclusively LA. She didn't get to see San Diego or Balboa Park. She did get to experience San Francisco 3 times. She went 3 times, that's right. She got to experience San Francisco a little bit. She didn't like California. She liked Texas a lot. She's convinced that Texas was a very different culture from the rest of the U.S. that she saw. Very interesting. I can share with you her observations there. Once I get 50 subscribers, I can walk around our property and my wife can talk more about her observations and her thoughts and experiences. We were in the U.S. for several years. We had our first baby there. Our first baby's first birthday and second birthday were both there in Texas. Um, we used to own our own house outright, and we sold it. I also have a pension from my retirement. And with our savings and with our pension, we just packed up and moved to the Philippines. Initially, we were going to stay here 1 year and then decide, do we go back or do we stay? And during the course of the year, we decided to just stay. Um, there's a lot of benefits to living in the U.S., specifically Texas. There's a lot of benefits to staying in the Philippines. Okay. Um, if we move back to Texas, we're going to make a lot more money. Um, I just now got back from Texas. I went to Texas in September for a total of 8 days. So I came back, and I'll talk about what that was like. Very, very easy going to Texas, very relaxing. Coming back was very stressful, very difficult emotionally. Um, had to wait 10 days in quarantine, even though I had negative antigen test boarding the plane. I had the vaccine. Um, so anyway, um, while I was in Texas, I had a job offer to teach, go back to teaching. I used to teach school. I used to teach 7th grade. I liked it. And that was a debate that my wife and I had. Should we go back? Should we go back to Texas? Not sure. Not sure. Difficult time. Um, we decided to stay at least for a while. So obviously, obviously, because I'm here. Um, so we have a friend in Bohol who has his own channel, has his own live stream, and he was posting the other day that he doesn't have any flowers in his property. He had to buy an additive to give to his bees to get his bees to survive. And that really surprised me because we have a lot of flowers, a lot of flowers. So I was thinking, I should just walk around and do a live stream and show you all the flowers on our property. And we live in Cavite on Luzon. He lives in Bohol. Different islands, different ecosystems, I suppose. I find it hard to believe he doesn't have any flowers. We're just filled with flowers here. So that was another motivation that got me started to do the live stream. Um, so this is just a test to see what's a good time, what is a good way to present these videos, how to get some additional subscribers. And then once we get over 50 subscribers, I can do live streams from my mobile and walk around during the day, show you our property. It's very relaxing here. It's very restful. There's a house being built down the street, so I can show you how that house is being built, construction methods here. The volcano, surviving the quarantine, our lifestyle here, how we moved here, how we live here. Every time I meet an expat, they're doing things a little bit differently. So we just do bank-to-bank money transfers online from our account in the U.S. to our account in the Philippines. We do that twice a month. We try to stay under 80,000 pesos a month budget. Usually we go above that. Sometimes I'll use my ATM debit card from the US here and just take out an additional 10,000. Medical care in the Philippines, my goodness, just wonderful, wonderful stuff. We don't have any health insurance. We never signed up for PhilHealth. My wife has promised that she will go and sign us up for PhilHealth one day. Becoming a permanent resident in the Philippines, what was that like? That's an adventure. That's another topic for another chat. And then talking about my books. What are my books about? They're all fiction, short stories, a couple of novels, and there's an anthology, a book of collection of all my short stories that's going to be coming out later in the year. So that's another book that we're going to get started. So these are all different ideas for future chats. Okay, so that's something that I'm very excited about. Very excited about doing, and we will get online every day at this time and try to answer your questions and concerns, and see what we can do to try to increase this channel, to try to give me more possibilities, give me more opportunities to show you all the amazing lifestyle that we have here. Well, I hope you all are doing well. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. See if we can hang on and have some other people join us here. There's certainly a lot of different things. Gardening, we have extensive garden. That's why I'd really like to get more than 50 subscribers so we could show you all the garden. The park that we have. These are all ideas. What's our house like? What are our bills like? Medical care here is really nice. You don't need to worry about going to in-network, going to out-of-network. You don't need to worry about having insurance. The C-section that we had to have an emergency C-section in the U.S. for our first baby. And that's when we started talking about seriously going to the Philippines for a long time, because my wife really had a difficult time recovering from that on her own, basically. So she's from a big family, and I promised her if we have a second baby, I promise you we'll have it in the Philippines, and you can have your mom, helping you recover. And she did. She had her mom and a couple of different sisters and a lot of her family staying with us to help recover from the C-section. So that was our initial reason for coming to the Philippines. And then while she recovers, we can take our time. We lived in the U.S. for 4 years together, and now we're living here. We found a house in Cavite. What's our decision? And so our decision was to stay. And I definitely think it's a good decision. I did a video a while back on 8 different things. And actually that's ballooned out. There's a lot more. There might be 15 different reasons. 15 different gifts that the Philippines gives me that allows me to give to my family that I wouldn't be able to give if we lived in the US. And some of these are the medical benefits. Top rate hospitals here in Cavite. They wanted my son cut the back of his head. He fell on our stairs, and they wanted him to get a CT scan just right there in the emergency room. And my son just wouldn't tolerate once that thing started sliding into that tunnel. My son just bailed out. That's it. I'm not gonna do this. So we had to settle for X-rays, but that was an option. That's right there. So we've got CT scans. We've got a fully staffed, very well equipped hospital, and it's 24/7. You don't have to wait for the doctor to arrive. That was one difficulty with the province. My wife is originally from Mindanao. We went there, and we were within, I looked on Google Maps on my phone, and we were within a 1 hour drive of Marawi City, where my wife was from. And we stayed there for several days, and my son didn't like it. The village, little area, habited zone where my wife's family's from, has no sidewalks, has no streets. So you park your car by the side of the highway, and then you climb down some steps beside the highway, and there's like trails that you follow through to get to this little hamlet of houses. And my wife's mother lives there. It's connected to elementary school campus that you can kind of walk around to. And you can hear the laughter of the kids during the day from my wife's mother's house. You can hear the laughter of the kids in that school. That school, of course, is next to the highway. So you get off the highway, you kind of go down your cluster of houses, and then there's a canal, and then you go down here to the bridge and cross over the canal, and then you come here, and there's the elementary school, and the elementary school is a big parking lot, and then that's the highway. Okay, so anyway, my son didn't really like it. I slept really well there. I liked it. The fruit is really amazing in Mindanao. There's an amazing amount of fresh fish, fresh food, fresh meats. Just nothing's frozen. Nothing's frozen. Everything's fresh. So I was sleeping really well. My wife's mother didn't have any. My mother-in-law didn't have any air conditioning. Didn't have any Wi-Fi. She didn't have a television. Oh, no. We got her a television later, and she had one channel, but then Duterte killed that channel. So now she has no television again. But no refrigerator. But she had plumbing, and she has electricity. So my son woke me up in the middle of the night. He was 4 at the time. Or no, he was 3, almost about to turn 4. And he woke me up in the middle of the night and said, Dad, buy a taxi. Dad, let's go back to our house. Let's go to our house. And I just thought that was the funniest thing. I'm sorry, Charlie. We can't we can't go back. We have to stay here with Lola. So he loves Lola, super close to Lola. Lola is just a big, squeezable, huggable hunk of laughter, just the perfect grandmother figure. Really happy that he's close to his Lola. But it was really difficult for him to live in that environment. So there's all kinds of stories like that. Okay, you can live in the Philippines in a very beautiful, very scenic, beautiful area. You could live there for much less than 40,000 pesos a month. If you have a regular income of, let's say 600, 700 a month, you could easily do it. You could easily live very comfortably in the province. Okay. But you're not going to have access to really good quality medical care in an emergency. It might be difficult for you to get to an emergency room within an hour of an accident happening. Our baby at the time, he's now 2, almost 3, but our baby, when we were in Mindanao, got sick, and we had to go see a doctor. And this was, I think it was a Tuesday, maybe around 10 a.m. We went to the nearby city. That's like maybe a 15-minute, maybe less, tricycle ride down the highway. Yeah, maybe 15, 20 minutes. So it's not far, okay? And we get to a clinic, and there's no doctor. The doctor's at the clinic from 1 to 4, something like that. Okay, so we have to wait. So there's already a waiting line. And my wife's sister went to medical school in the city. So she knows some people, and she's familiar with the clinics. So she says, no, we're going to go to this other clinic. So we went to another clinic that was actually right around the corner from Jollibee. And there was a private mom and pop kind of Starbucks. Actually, a really nice coffee shop. It was really nice. I would have loved to own that coffee shop. Very well decorated. Very, very, very good quality coffee. That's one nice thing about the Philippines, is excellent coffee here. Right around the corner from that. So my older son and I just went to the coffee shop while mom and baby and his aunt, the RN, were waiting at the other clinic. But it took them a while to see a doctor. There was only one doctor on staff there. So I told my wife after that, I said, we can't live here. This isn't an option for me. So life in the province just isn't an option for me. I have to be within preferably 15 minutes, and that's exactly where we are now. We're within a 15-minute drive at night in bad weather. If the volcano's erupting, whatever's happening, I'm confident I can get to the hospital in 15 minutes. To the emergency room. And I know that there's very capable doctors there, that it's well staffed. They've got emergency generators. So even if the power goes out, we're, worry free. And my son's emergency room visit was 6,000 pesos, like 118 bucks at the time. I had enough on me. I didn't even have to use the ATM card. I didn't have to use the credit card. I've got an empty credit card for emergencies, and I usually grab that when we go to the hospital. I put my wife's C-section on that, 3 days in a private hospital room. The whole thing was 86,000 pesos. Friend of mine just visited me today from also, he's also from Texas. He lives in a nearby subdivision about maybe, again, a 15-minute drive away from our subdivision. Close by, but he went to Texas in April, came back in June. I went to Texas in September and came back 8 days later. So he came over and picked up some stuff I picked up for him when I was in Texas, and then he'll pick up some stuff for me when he goes in April next year. But we're comparing notes, and his wife had to give birth to a C-section also. His wife was 79,000 pesos to pay. So that gives you an idea. Pesos are 50 pesos to the dollar. So you divide that by 2 and move over a decimal point. So 80,000 pesos is $1,600. So 79,000 pesos. He paid like 7,000 pesos less than we paid, but approximately the same amount, $1,600. So my wife was just in a panic, you know. She'd been in the hospital. This is her third day. She's already being forced to walk around a little bit, recovering from the C-section. And she was really nervous, you know, because I had to pay everything on my own. She can't help me. Her family's staying with her. They're not walking around helping me do all this stuff. I had to go to Tracy Martinez, where the hospital is located. I had to go to that city hall area in order to get the birth certificate for my son. So I had to do all this stuff alone. Okay. And that was another adventure we can talk about, is how to get a passport and social security card for your son when you give birth in the Philippines. I did that. I went to the embassy twice and I just stayed there almost the whole day. And I got the passport on one visit, and then I had to go back for a separate visit to get the social security card. So that's nice. You know, my older son was born in the U.S. His first birthday and second birthday were both in Texas. He has his U.S. birth certificate, his U.S. passport, his U.S. social security card, everything. My younger son was born here in the Philippines. He has his U.S. passport, his U.S. birth certificate, and his U.S. Social security card. So I took care of everything. So even if something happens to me, my wife's going to get 60% of my pension the rest of her life. The kids already have all their U.S. credentials. If they want, when they turn 18 or 20, whatever it is, they can go to the U.S. if they want. Very easy. You don't need to worry about converting their education, because they can take the GED online, guys, and they'll have their high school diploma right there, and they could easily apply for college. And as long as they have some college here in the Philippines, college in the U.S. is going to be a piece of cake. You know that, right? I mean, it's going to be a piece of cake. They're going to be at the top of their class, because school here in the Philippines is very vigorous. Kids are going to learn very quickly. So anyway, I'm going to end this live stream. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm going to try and do this at the same time every night, 10 a.m. in the U.S., 11 p.m. here. And I hope everybody's doing well, and look forward to visiting with you on another stream. Don't forget to hit the like, and don't forget to subscribe, so you've got some opportunity to chat with everybody. Okay? Buy a book. Help us out. It's almost Christmas. Take care.